Hello, this is Don Zabolansky of Colonial Metalsmithing. Today we're going to talk about rolling and forming pieces. What I have here is a Niagara slip roll. This is a pretty old machine and is used to roll things into cylinders. So we're going to start with rolling up the sections for the cans or fonts. Now I have to adjust the spacing on the back roll, and that back roll allows it to curve the piece. So the closer the back roll is, the tighter the diameter that it will curve. Now, one of the things that you have to keep in mind when you're doing kind of decorative work is to start out in a pretty flat position so that you don't get a flat spot when you start. And that happens, and it's always a challenge to take it out. So here we go. As you can see, it's beginning to work its way into a cone. I'll put it back in, and I'll continue tightening up on the back roll, and the curvature will get tighter and tighter. It should be noted that the piece is passed through the slip rolls numerous times, with the back roll being adjusted to form a tighter circle on each pass, ending up with a complete circle. So there you go. There's a pretty decent circle. I'll actually solder this together, and that's another operation. Okay, now we're going to turn this into a cylinder, but it has a wired edge. So we have to set it right here in the wire. We'll lock this in place. It's the same process where we careful to go in at a real low radius so it doesn't turn too quickly. Otherwise, it always creates a flat spot. Now, in production sheet metal work, you really don't care about that because most sheet metal work is not visible in your house. Okay, here we go. As you will note, the wired edge is in the wire groove on the slip-form machine. This helps prevent the collapsing of the wired edge if this groove was not available. Again, it takes multiple passes to close this into a circle. So there you have it. You can see there's a really tiny flat spot in there. It's not a big deal. I'll just tap it out with a... And I clamped it in place because it's pretty hard to hold something this rigid in place. And as you can see, as I bend it down, it will form and configure around the pipe. So I'll flip it over and just roll it towards me. Roll it a little bit like you would in a rolling pin with dough. Okay. Now, when I'm complete with this operation, this needs to be a 7-inch is in diameter. Okay, so here we are. As you can see, we're far from 7 inches. So what I'll do at this point in time is I take this wooden mandrel and I roll it around that. Flip it over. And if we compare to this one, you can see we're pretty close. There's some fine tuning that I do after I put the swedge in. Now the same situation exists with the inner cone, and use the roll to hold it in place, and then I just bend it around to roll. Now this is zinc, so zinc is pretty pliable and fairly easy to do. And I'll continue rolling it. Flip it around. But what I need at the end of the day is something with this curvature. So then I flip back to, and I got to use what I have. I have a 4-inch mandrel, and I put the 4-inch mandrel in there. Flip it around. And there we have it. We're pretty close. Normally, I'll do a little fine tuning after I bend this flange down, because then I'll have it to be able to adjust the dimension. And if I'm within 1/4 of an inch, I can spring it in during the assembly process. So that's how you use forms to roll pieces. At one time, before I had the slip rolls, I used to do everything in this kind of fashion. Now, another solution in the event that you have difficulty getting a nice seam is to actually put a double hem. This means it's folded over twice, and so it doesn't have a wire in it, so it can actually be fed through the slip rolls. So there you go. There's more than one way to skin a cat, and of course it's just too stiff to do around a mandrel. Now this operation is going to actually put the swedge in, which is for decorative purposes as well as to add strength to the final product. So first of all, you have to do this in a couple of iterations, because you can't actually put the complete swedge in one shot. And always check to make sure that the swedge is going on the right side. As you can see, we're beginning to get a swedge mark, and I'll bring it through again on the other side. And then I'll start setting the machine down. You can't, like I said, you can't do it all at once. There's too much pressure on the machine. The number of passes through the swedge is directly related to the softness of the metal. Brass being pretty soft takes the fewest passes, where turned tin being stiff takes the most. The configuration, it looks exactly like the piece I was trying to match. Okay, so I'm going to bend to 90 degrees. Obviously, the bar folder is a perfect tool for this. And this helps align the face and also gives me something to solder from. So I bring it up and get this to about 90 degrees. And there you have it. See, now this surface is actually straight. See, this one has a little wavy gravy in it. I'll stick it in the bar folder again. Bring it up. And there we go. See, the front's now squared away. It's supposed to be 7 inches. I don't know if it's 7 inches or not. It's close enough. Basically, when I clamp it in place, it'll work just fine. So, anyway, this concludes this episode, and I hope you've enjoyed it. The next episode is going to be assembling all the products that we have made to this point in time. So that's a very interesting piece. So anyway, hope to see you soon. Bye.